Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to Card Making Project 554. Today we're going to make a gorgeous card using our Anna Griffin supplies, and it's a little bit different is this one because we use the card in a different way slightly. Everything I do here is actually put in a detail list on my blog, so please be sure to check it out. There's also lots of photos on there of both the outside and the inside of the project. Not only that, there's another 500 and odd Anna Griffin projects on there. There's Fab Scraps projects and some of the older Spellbinders projects. So I'm sure in these cold winter nights or the hot summer evenings, there's depending on where you live in the world, I am sure there's something on there that you could spend your time looking at for ideas and inspiration. Now I do love hearing from you, so it's always great to get your messages and comments. I've been asked about scrapbooking this week many a time, and I'd just like to say that I will try and bring you more scrapbooking projects next year. I'm only short of photos, that's and time. You know, money and time, that's the thing for everyone, isn't it? So, but it's photos and time, because preparation for scrapbooking pages takes a lot longer than it does cards. And I'm being really honest there, but, you know, I want to share that with you, because I know you want the ideas and the inspiration. But don't forget, when you make a card, everything that the ideas on the card, everything that's there, you could transfer onto a scrapbooking page, just in a larger way or more of it. So just think about that when you see a gorgeous card with rosettes and lots of die cut in. Think of it on a larger scale, especially if it's a square one. So maybe that would help, just for now. But I shall see what I can do for next year. I'm not going to make any promises though. So please feel free to comment, please give me the thumbs up, and please share with your crafty friends. Let's sit back and relax, and let's have a look at today's gorgeous card. For today's project, we're going to be using one set of dies, and it's the Bohemian cut and embossed dies. We're going to be using this die here and the shadow layer, so that's the ornate layer and the shadow die as well. And then we're going to use this die as well and the shadow layer. So those are I'm going to say 2 dies, but there's actually 4 with the shadow layers. Our base card is a little bit different, because what I've done is I've taken a piece of the spring plaid cardstock and I've cut it to 6 inches wide by 12 inches, and then I've folded it. And using a bone folder, I'm taking the bone folder along the edge to make sure it's a nice sharp score where I've folded it. And on the back of the card, I've used my handmade by stamp. I've stamped it in black ink, I've added my name, and this is basically for any new crafters out there that don't know why we stamp the back. It's because if you give the card to somebody, when they receive it, if they keep it, which hopefully they will, in years to come, they will know who's made that card for them, because they will take the cards out and think, oh, I remember that, and Anne-Marie made me that card, or whoever. So that's why we stamp the back. Now, as always, we're going to do the inside first. Now, you'll notice I've got the score to the top of the card for this, so I'm going to open it up, and the inside is plain because it's the back of the cardstock that we've used to create the card. The first thing I've done is I've taken one of the set 1 foil layers from Anna Griffin, and I've cut a layer just slightly smaller than our 6 inches, and I've taken the centre out. Now I've die cut that just using a square die from a set of square nesting dies. It could be any die that you use. And I've kept the centre for, we can use it for something else, or we can use it for this project. I'm going to use it for something else. So it's just simply, you know, don't waste it. I have plenty of projects on the blog for using scraps, but in this instance we're not going to use that centre. I've got flat tape on the back of it, so I can peel the tape away, and I've got a little mark that tells me which way up it needs to go. So we just peel the tape off, and then we can position it in the centre of our card like that. There we go. Press it down. So now we've got a centre which is starting to look great. I mean, you could leave it like that, just stamp it, and it would be, you know, pretty insert. So we've taken, using the same size square die, I've taken a piece of ivory cardstock, I've die cut it the same size, and I've just simply inked it around the edge, just very, very lightly, with a green ink pad, just a very pale ink, you don't have to, and that will fit exactly into that aperture to make it nice and smooth in the centre and give it more of a finished look, just to build that layer up so it doesn't dip. Then I've taken one of our embellishments from the Anna Griffin Feather Sentiment and Embellish sticker set, and it's still in its 3D form. I'm going to simply peel the back of this away, and I'm just going to position it on our card roughly, I would say about there. And I'm just going to lay it onto my card. I've taken a sentiment as well from the same kit, and I've peeled the back of it away. So I've just simply got the top of the sentiment. I've taken it through my Xyron machine, so I've got all over adhesive on the back of it. And I'm just going to position it where I want it on the card. That's why we didn't press the sticker down, so that we can work out where on the card we want it. So I'm thinking I'd like it roughly about here, just under the little bird and between the rose and the top of the card. So I can press that down and press it all down when I'm happy where it is. And that is our insert complete. Now don't worry that the sticker is still 3D, because the card is going to be quite raised on the front anyway. So it's not going to add a lot of height to it, because the height's going to be already there from the front. So now we can turn our attention to the front. I'm going to use my bone folder again to make sure I've got a nice sharp crease along the top still. Now this is a little bit different, this card, because we've got a 6x6 inch card. We're actually going to add a layer to the front of the card, which is from the Anna Griffin 7x5 not foil layers, sorry, the metallic layers. And what I've done is I've just slightly trimmed it to roughly 1/4 of an inch less. I've got tape on the back, flat tape, and I've just taken it up to this section, because this is going to go through the centre of our card, but it's going to peek over the edge. So it's going to just top the edge of the card with a little bit of card at either side. So we can press that down. So we don't want tape on this area. Our next layer is one of the foil layers again from set 1 from Anna. I've again trimmed it just to the edge where the foil starts, and I've got 3D foam on the back of it. And I'm just going to position it through the centre of the previous layer and press that down. Next, that looks a bit skewy, but you know what? If it won't just lift a bit, we might have to work with it being skewy. And yep, we can just change that. You see, I'm not perfect either, and I'm looking at this very differently to how you would, because you'd be looking down on it through on your desk, and I'm looking at it through the camera. Okay, that looks a little bit better. So now that's nice and straight, our next step is to add some fancy corners. This is where our die cutting came in. So the first of our die cutting, using the Bohemian die set, I've cut the ornate layer from the spring plaid cardstock, and then I've cut the shadow layer from the gold satin cardstock. I've got 3D foam on the back of the ornate layer, and I'm simply going to position it over the shadow layer like so, and it leaves a little edge all the way around. I've got 3D foam and flat tape on the back of the gold layer, and then we're going to add 4 of these into the corners. So we're going over the edge of the 2 layers that we've just added, and as I say, there's 4 of these, so we're just going to add them, and hopefully they're roughly straight. And the bottom 2 corners, and the final one, there we go, like so. Now I think this is a great mixture of cardstock, and I think the colours are gorgeous. They work so well together. So those are our 4 corners. Next, I've taken a square of green cardstock. Now this was actually from the Perfect Palettes range, and it was the all occasion cardstock from Anna. But whatever you've got, that would work. It just tones in really well with the other colours. I've got 3D foam on the back of this and flat tape. Now the 3D foam is positioned between the centres and not the edges. That's because the edges are going to touch where our corners are, if that makes sense. So it's just going to sit there, and the edges where there was no 3D foam sit onto the corners because they were raised up already. Our next layer is a piece of the spring plaid cardstock again, cut into another square, and these were roughly, I did remember but now I've forgotten, the first square was 4 inches, 4¼ inches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4¼ and the second one is 3¾ inches. I've got 3D foam on the back of this one, and I'm going to add it in a diamond style again, like that. So now we're thinking that Anne-Marie must be making something quite symmetrical. And this is the part where I think, oh no, I'm going to veer off course here, because I like symmetrical cards. I work very well with symmetrical cards, but now we're just going to slightly go away from centre. Our second die cut that we're going to use from the Bohemian set is the larger one. So we've got the shadow layer in the gold, and then we've got the ornate layer in the plaid. Now don't worry that you can see my foam pads in the middle, because that's going to be covered up. But we're going to position our ornate layer over the gold layer, and then we're going to add the gold layer that's on flat tape roughly to one side of the centre, like that, and press it down. We're then going to add a sentiment. Now the sentiment is again from the Feather Sentiment and Embellishment set, and what I've done, I've added 3D foam in the middle, but I've actually cut away the back of the carrier sheet that the sticker's on, so that the 3D foam is going to sit in this section here, and the flat section will sit on the ornate layer of the Bohemian die. So it'll sit flat, but it will stick to the base, if that makes sense. So it's going to go in there and the outer edge will sit on the outer edge of the die cut. So we can pop that in like that and press it down. Next, I've taken some of the beautiful stickers from the feather embellishment and sticker set. Now the first one is the longer one, and you can see on the back where I've just peeled the back of the carrier sheet off, I've got 3D foam at the top, and that's because we're going to position it just around our sentiment, and part of it will sit flat and part of it will stand proud at the top, like so. The second of our stickers, again from the same collection, has 3D foam at the bottom of it, but I've left the sticker at the top, and that is going to sit to the bottom like that. There we go. Press that on. Actually, I'm just going to lift that slightly because it's just over the edge a bit much. There we go. Press that down. And then I'm going to finish it with a gorgeous green large bow, which I think can go just over the under the sentiment. And that, is our card finished. And it's such a pretty card. The colours are gorgeous. Stands up perfectly. Obviously you're looking down on it. As it would be stood up, it would look like that. So it stands up perfectly. There's quite a few layers on there. So I think it would go in a big fat mailer from Anna Griffin. It would sit nicely in there. I think the top section for the little bird to sit on just looks so pretty. The inside matches perfectly with the gorgeous florals. You could adapt it to suit any occasion. I've used just a best wishes sticker for this. But I just think it's so pretty with the eclectiveness of it. Just very different. I will take lots of photos of it and put them on my blog, so please be sure to check that out. And I just think the detail, as we're looking at it now, it's gorgeous, is this one. Love the colour combination. So check the blog for lots of photos, both inside and out, and the list of everything that we've used. Please give me the thumbs up. Please check my blog for other projects because there's so many on there. And please share with your crafty friends. So I do hope you've enjoyed watching, and I hope it's given you ideas and inspiration. So I'd just like to say thank you so much for watching, and we shall see you next time.